All right, guys, let's get right into it. As you guys know, I recently purchased the Sony FX3, and this past weekend was actually my first weekend using this camera in a shooting environment for work. And my first video that I did was a music video for a client, and it came out extremely well. And in this video, I just want to give you guys my first impressions of the camera, what were my takeaways and which ways that I use it. And yeah. All right, guys, if you like content like this, make sure you like and subscribe to your boy. Thank you guys very much for all the love and support, and let's get right into the video. Okay, guys, so if you're new here, I recently posted a video on me selling my Sony FX6 in order to buy the Sony FX3, and I gave you guys all the reasons why I ultimately landed on this camera and chose this camera out of all the other cameras that was on the market. But just to give you guys a quick rundown, I recently purchased the Sony FX3 because I was looking for a camera that was more nimble, a camera that was more of a Swiss Army knife I could take into so many various shooting conditions, and it worked for me. And I was honestly looking for a smaller form factor, just something that worked better with the kind of work that I've been doing as of recently. As of recently, I have been doing a lot more events, weddings, creative videos, some commercial stuff, documentaries. My shoots have been all over the place. I've also been doing some photography as well. So I just wanted a camera that can go into all these different scenarios and perform well, and a camera that I can trust. So I took time to contemplate every decision, but I ultimately landed on the Sony FX3. It made a lot of sense for me. I mean, just as far as all of the basic functions, the fact that this camera pretty much has very, very close image quality to my Sony FX6, so I didn't have to lose a lot of my processes. And then of course, I already have Sony lenses, so it just made a lot of sense. But this past weekend, I shot my first shoot with the Sony FX3, and it happened to be a music video. I got this gig, it was a last minute request to come shoot a music video in Brooklyn, New York. And it was, again, when I say last minute, I mean I was contacted at least 2 days before the shoot, and with not a big concept, just the location. And yeah, I took my Sony FX3 and we went and we made some magic. I was very happy with some of the stuff that we were able to get, and I feel like it came out really, really good. As far as the setup, I put this camera on a simple rig, a rig that I just got for the camera. I'm gonna get more elaborate with my rigs, but if you guys wanna know exactly what's in my rig, I can make a rig video for you guys. Just drop that down in the comment section below and let me know. But you guys can see from the BTS video, I use a simple rig with a V mount, and for the most part, the FX3 sat on a tripod the entire shoot. And then I used the FX30 to supplement the FX3 footage, and I used the FX30 on a gimbal, so that while I was shooting the static shots, I can also get gimbal movement for the music video. So I feel like this really worked out very well, because the producer, it was his song. He actually has amazing music, but the video isn't done yet. The music is not done and ready to release yet. So I'm only dropping a few frames on here, but definitely when it is released and everything, I'll let you guys know so you guys check him out. He's a very, very dope artist, but he only booked me for an hour and a half, so I did not have a lot of time to get things done. And then when we did arrive, he forgot something and had to go pick it up, so that obviously cut into more time as well. So I had to get things done in a very, very short amount of time. And the FX3 was perfect because it allowed me to be as nimble as possible. So as far as the shoot, there wasn't any surprises with the Sony FX3, just because I previously owned the Sony a7S III, and then I've also used the Sony FX3 a lot, just shooting with other people, shooting weddings with other people that has had it. I've used the camera a lot, just working out there in the industry. A lot of people has the Sony FX3, so I'm very, very familiar with the Sony FX3. And then of course, a lot of the settings are very similar to my Sony FX30, so there wasn't much of a learning curve when using this camera. But the first thing I noticed right away was just how beautiful the images were coming out. How beautiful the images on this camera renders. Like, this camera, it really does render really nice images, very, very similar to my Sony FX6. And I feel like that was the first thing that I noticed. Another thing that really had me taken back, and one thing I noticed, that this camera really does have really good dynamic range. So I was just using it in different scenarios when I was shooting towards the windows and different things like that, and the camera performed extremely well. And that was one question mark that I had, because I know a lot of camera manufacturers, charges. They say that this camera has 14 stops, 15 stops, whatever, but it's not entirely true. I was very, very interested to see the dynamic range difference between the Sony FX3 and the Sony FX6. And if I'm being honest, I feel like it's negligible. I didn't really notice much of a difference. Another thing that I really noticed that I really loved as far as the image quality was the skin tones and just the color science of the camera. I feel like it's because I've shot with Sony for so long that I'm just used to their color science. I feel like it really does render very good skin tones and gives you a good starting point to color grade and push the footage. Again, this camera is 10-bit 422, and I feel like that's all you really should be looking for. If you're looking to buy your first video camera, just look for any camera that is 10-bit 422 and it's going to work out for you. Now, at the end of the day, your choice on camera is gonna change depending on the type of things that you shoot. The things that really attracted me to the Sony FX3, of course, is the built-in fans, the full frame, being able to shoot 120 frames per second. All those things mattered to me, and that's why I eventually landed on the Sony FX3. But ultimately, just to wrap things up, I feel like the shoot came out amazing, and the one reminder I got when shooting this music video and using the Sony FX3 throughout the weekend, because on Saturday I shot the music video, and then on Sunday I was second shooting a wedding with this camera. So again, very, very versatile. But the one takeaway that I got from this past weekend using this camera is that yes, gear matters, but the way you use your gear is what matters the most, right? And at the end of the day, when you're making a purchasing decision, think about how you're going to use the gear. Don't just think about how cool the camera looks or how the camera may be perceived to everybody else. Think about how this camera can serve you and your shooting style. So that's the number one thing. You guys, drop us out the comment section below if you guys are using a Sony FX3. What are your thoughts on it? If whatever other cameras you guys are using, let me know what you're using down below. Let me know your thoughts on it, why you feel like your camera has served you well, and in which ways you feel like your camera excels. But with that being said, love you guys. Thank you guys for tuning into another video. We on the way to being monetized. Thank y'all for all the love, respect. Catch y'all in the next one. I'm out.